Welcome to our Career Thought Leaders Trend Tuesday Live. We are excited to have you here with us, and Tanya Smith is joining us to talk about video marketing. Hi, Tanya. Thanks for joining.
Hey, I'm so glad I get to be here with you.
Yes, and to talk about video. Now, you run an organization. You have an excellent Facebook page that I've been a part of for a while, called Get Noticed with Video.
I do, and that is where I spend the bulk of my time when I'm on social media is cultivating the audience there and creating community and sharing videos.
Yes, and where did this come from? Tell me a little bit about where Get Started with Video kind of bloomed out of your mindful marketing
It
mindfully.
did. It did. So you knew me with mindfully marketing, and at the time, what I found is that I had a lot of folks that were coming to me and saying, I want to be more visible. I need content that's going to help me to get noticed in the feeds because a lot of our organic content that you just create and put out there and hope and pray that it works, was no longer working, especially on profiles or platforms like Facebook. Um, and so many of the folks that were coming to me were saying, I need ways to get visible without necessarily spending $1,000 every month or every week on advertising. And so for my own personal brand, I had started really being more consistent with doing videos and especially found that I loved live video. Being the perfectionist that I am, that doesn't even make sense. It's kind of contrary to my personality. But I realized that doing more live video allowed me to really engage with people in a very transparent and real way. And it started building community and it started getting me noticed. And the more that I realized that I had something that I could share with the people that were coming to me asking that wouldn't break the bank and would still get them more visibility, get them, help them to build their credibility in their field, help them to build social influence. I thought, you know what? I need to niche and really teach people the practical ways that they can use more video. So,
And that's
yeah,
why we love live video.
you
Well, and
see?
we were going to, today we're talking about three ways that people can kind of dip their toe into video. And to me, live video is the surprising way, perhaps, that people can dip their toe into video. I'm also kind of that perfectionist, and yet live video has been the most consistent I've ever been with video.
Yes. Because you don't necessarily have to be perfect and you don't have to be so structured that, because here's what I found myself doing when I would pre-record and when I would try to structure it. I found myself worrying that it still wasn't good enough. And so when I let go of that concern, that fear of not being good enough, and did live video and got interaction from people, and people were engaging and laughing when my dogs barked, or they were, I think the experience of being a human really shines through when you do more live. And so that became my mantra, is doing more on camera and more live video and teaching people how to overcome the fear and build up your confidence to do it. But if you get past the whole perfection thing, because once you see the benefits and you really start seeing that relationship that you're building with your audience, it's enticing. It's almost intoxicating. It's like, yeah, this is what I want to do because I'm having a conversation with real people instead of just talking to a camera and then again hoping and praying that it might reach the right people. So live, you get instant and immediate gratification or you get crickets. So you know right away, for the most part, whether or not you're doing what you need to be doing. You're sharing what you need to share.
Yeah, and I like doing it on Facebook Live. Then it's recorded and people do come back and watch later. So I notice, I'll have maybe 20 or so on live when it's not summer.
Yep.
Today we have a lower number than that. But Amy is saying hi. Hi, Amy. She says perfection is overrated.
Hi,
Yeah.
Amy. Absolutely, totally agree.
Yeah.
So overrated.
Yes, and I find that's we were just talking about before we got started that the YouTube videos, and we both know that we need to do that more planned video, but for some reason these lives, they're more engaging, they've built that community, and it just feels more engaging for me to do it live.
Yeah.
So that might surprise people who are thinking live would be the scariest. Perhaps live isn't as scary as we think it might be.
And especially if you do the things that you need to do to prepare, not be perfect, but to prepare and to have systems in place so that you can manage your environment. One of the things that used to scare me a lot with going live was when I had a scrolling screen of comments. So I wasn't managing or controlling the comments. You never knew who was going to pop up. And this is what's happening right now for some in their Zoom calls. If you haven't put the right security measures and systems in place, is that you're seeing trolls, you're seeing people pop up that have a sole intention of distracting you and creating chaos. So, and when that happens, if you don't have the right systems in place to do your live videos, it can make it a very disconcerting experience. It can make it a little more scary. So when you use tools like StreamYard, like what you're using, Marie, and you can choose like the comments that come up, here's a comment that I want to put up and display intentionally, that makes things so much easier. You feel a little bit more in control and you feel like, okay, I can do this and still manage the outcome a little bit better. So I think there are different ways that you do live that will make you have more of a comfort and other ways that don't.
Yeah, I love StreamYard. I know you use Restream.io. That makes it easier too because you've got the environment that's helping you. These little banners are really easy to create, which I like. So
Yeah.
that the tools really do make a difference live. And then, I've deleted a few lives where one where I thought I was sharing my screen the whole time and I wasn't. Oops, you just deleted it, right? And then I've had one that I've thought about, oh, I don't look that great in that video. Do I go back and delete it? I don't know. But, there's that live. Yes, there's people that are watching live, but you still have the opportunity to cut the beginning and end,
Mm-hmm.
on Facebook at least,
Yep.
and to delete it if it just really goes wrong, right?
And you can do the same with YouTube as well. So you can frame your video after you're done. You can go in and edit and crop off the front and the back if you need to. So just about every platform, I would say Twitter, if you're using Periscope, it won't allow you to do that. But Facebook and YouTube they give you unique ways to be able to edit and update and to go back and delete if you want to get rid of the video. So, yeah, I did a live. One of my big mistakes early on was creating a video that I was muted for the first, I don't know, probably 10 minutes and didn't know. like nobody could hear me. They could see me. Okay, I love that question. You comfortable? Can I answer
Yeah,
this?
yeah.
Okay, so I haven't used Facebook Live, but I'm comfortable with Zoom. No, not necessarily. I would say, so if you are the host, Amy, if you're the host of your Zoom call, the best way for you to host your Zoom video and because I'm assuming you're saying that if you take that Zoom call and you want to move it into Facebook Live, I'll give you both answers. So if you're just using Zoom and you are not planning on broadcasting to Facebook Live from Zoom, the main thing you're going to need are two things, actually three, I would suggest. One is you do need a good webcam. So you need a way for people to see your image. Two is you need a good microphone. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to go out and purchase these items. If you have a laptop or a desktop system that gives you good quality sound and decent enough quality image, you're okay. You're all set. I would not recommend going live on Zoom from a phone if you're the host. Now, if you're a guest, you can certainly join into that Zoom, but it's not ideal. You don't get the ideal quality and the resolution for your video and for your audio if you're the host and hosting from a phone. The third piece of equipment I would suggest is just make sure, and this is not really even equipment, if you have good lighting in your home or office, make sure that you're near a window. The best possible lighting is to use natural lighting from a window. So you'll want to kind of test out different spots in your home or your office where you're going to be sitting to do your Zoom. And that will give you the ability to be able to do a live on Zoom, take it from Zoom and move it to Facebook Live or anything. So those three things: good webcam, decent microphone, and good lighting. The only other thing I would mention is you can use Zoom to broadcast into Facebook Live. There is an option for you to be able to do that. Most people don't do it because it tends to be a bit glitchy, especially right now with everyone at home. Zoom has had a lot more resources drained. So it tends to have a few more glitches than it used to when I was first using Zoom to broadcast into Facebook. The benefit to you doing that, if you broadcast from Zoom into Facebook, is that you have the ability to be able to, how you see all the windows with different people. And so let's say you're doing a small conference and you have 10 people. Zoom can transmit that exact image over into your Facebook Live. Okay. And the other benefit of using Zoom for your Facebook Live would be if you want some people who are joining you through your Zoom link to actually be able to speak back and forth, like to have conversation with you and not just type it into the chat, which they have to do if you're doing it from Facebook Live. That's the only way they can communicate to you, unless you're using another platform like Maria is using right now, StreamYard. So I think that was a pretty long answer, but hopefully that gave you what you needed, Amy.
Yeah, well, and as you said, Tanya, it's really that good video, good audio, good lighting, and then scale up. So I started with just a one person, me going live, and got all the kinks out. And then I started to add people in. And the first time I did 3 people, I was like, oh, I didn't do that right very well. The third person just kind of sat there a lot and probably felt really awkward. And so, you learn as you go. And that's part of, I think that's even part of why people tune in. It's like, ooh, what road wreck is Marie going to have today?
I know people have watched mine and said, okay, here's what not to do. This is what I won't do. This part right here.
Yeah. Well, and I know you do use multiple screens so that you can watch things on multiple screens. I found that distracting. I tried it a couple of times and that didn't work for me, which is part of why I like StreamYard, because I can see the comments from both YouTube and Facebook together in StreamYard. I tried to have YouTube up once and I didn't get it muted right, and so then you could hear this echo, and I thought, okay, that's just too much for me right now. I'm not ready for that.
It's baby steps, yes. And honestly, I think if I were a new person starting out, because I actually did it a little backwards, and I was using some of the more complex technology and platforms first. But I kind of have a knack for technology and for building systems and designing websites and that kind of stuff. So for me, it was a little bit easier, but for most of my clients, I would not recommend starting out with some of the more complex platforms. So to give you an example, OBS is one that's very popular because it's free, and another one is vMix. There's several others, but I started out learning how to go live using those. And then what I found is that I love the convenience and the ease and simplicity of using StreamYard. And from what I understand, people that have a Mac tend to use Ecamm Live, and it's very similar to StreamYard.
Mm.
And both of those allow you to pop the comments up without doing a bunch of coding, which is what I was having to do with those other ones I mentioned. You can just pop the comments up with a button. You can put your banners in and have really short snippets of video. You can share your screen if you choose to do that. I do love to do that because I love kind of putting like a production, a miniature production together, if you will. But I say that if you're starting out, keep it as simple as possible. It's just you, the camera, the microphone, and the lighting, and you talking to your audience. But other than that, don't add a bunch of extra because the more that you add, the less likely you are going to do the video.
Right.
You'll make excuses. Trust.
Well,
You
well,
will.
and that's what one of the other ways that we were going to talk about to dip your toe in is a slide share video.
Yes.
And what
So
makes that a good starting place?
I think that's an excellent question too. And I hadn't thought about that for a while until you sent a note to me and asked me about that. When you're first starting out, if you are not quite ready to do on camera video, and I'll tell you a little story in a second about myself. I'm going to be really transparent. But if you're not quite ready to put your face on camera and you're just not there yet, you can certainly speak over slides. So you can use whatever slide deck software you choose to use. If it's PowerPoint, if it's Google Slides, SlideShare, whatever slides you use, you can have those up and you can be speaking behind the scenes and never show yourself on camera. So that is a really easy way to put your toe in the water and to get started doing video because you'll develop a comfort level in that you don't have to worry that your hair and your makeup and your clothes and your background are all, again, perfect, which we don't really even, eventually you'll get over that part. But starting out, it can be a real concern and it can be a hurdle to overcome. So when you do a slide deck, if you're showing like a PowerPoint slide, because most people use PowerPoint, so I'll use that. Others use Google Slides, either one of those. What you basically have up on your screen is your slides in present mode. Okay, so you're going to have your slides in present mode. This is easy for people like Amy mentioned Zoom. So she's used to using Zoom calls. You could easily, Amy, use your Zoom to present your slides and share your screen and go ahead and turn off your video. That gives you an opportunity to be able to record over. Now, another way to do that is if you were using like a third party software such as what we're using now, again, StreamYard or Ecamm Live, you simply turn off your video and you have your screen being shared so that you talk as you work through each of the slides. That is definitely an easy, non scary way to do things. And the reason why I think that that's a good way, especially if you're introverted like I am, it's a really good way to do it. Because initially, when I first started learning sales, I was the person who I didn't want to talk to people. So I would take my flyer and I'd drive my car up to the house and I'd just like hurry up, run and throw the flyer on the steps, on the porch steps, and then run back to the car. So I wouldn't have to talk to anybody about what I was trying to sell. So I'm saying that to say it's kind of doing it that way with video. You're just going to put your toe in the water and get used to and get comfortable with the idea of promoting what you know and who you are and your message on camera without necessarily having your face. So you can do it. It can be done. Oh, and let me give you this tool because I can't help it, Marie. You know me. There's a tool that is called Screencast-O-Matic.
Mm.
So Screencast-O-Matic, I think maybe $30 for a year to use. It's really an easy tool. So this is if you're pre-recording your video. It doesn't allow you to go live, but it does allow you to pull up your slides or whatever you want to share on screen and record with just your microphone over the slide. So you're not showing your face, but you do have an option to add your little image at the bottom or the top or wherever you want to place that. Another one, and the last one I'll share, I think it's called Loomly, Loom. I'll have to double check that for you. There's another one called Loom that's very similar to Screencast-O-Matic, but I think it costs a little bit more. So
Yeah, and you mentioned earlier the Zoom, you can use Zoom as a one person call and record it. Maybe then the next step is having your face small. So that was kind of how I did it. Was first it was a screen. So I was showing people how to do something on a resume in Zoom, and then it was like, okay, now I'm comfortable enough to put my face in the little square at the bottom. And then as you get comfortable with that, then it's like, okay, now I can do my whole face. But it's almost like that slow immersion and getting yourself used to seeing yourself on video.
Yes. Yes. And there are things that keep us from appreciating our own image on video. I talk a lot about that. I have a class called On Camera Confidence. So
Mm,
there are don't think that it is just you and only you who's afraid to be on camera. There are sometimes some psychological blocks that we have as we're looking at ourselves. We don't want to replay that video. We don't want to hear ourselves talking. There are reasons behind that, but there are also ways to overcome it. The one way I would just share with you for purposes of this call is simply to just keep doing it until you feel more confident. Because the more you get on camera, the more experience you put under your belt, the more comfortable you're going to be on camera. So
yeah,
just
and I still don't watch very many of my own videos. I do it enough to make sure that they're you can hear it and it's okay, and then yeah. Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So the last way that we were going to talk about to get your toe in the water is a pre-record, which we were kind of talking about earlier, where you can pre-record it, you can edit it perhaps, and feel more confident by doing it that way.
Oh yeah, yeah. If you So there are even tools that will allow you to pre-record and then post your pre-recorded video as though you are live.
Mm,
So Restream.io actually allows you to do that. If you have I don't know what level it is because they keep changing their plans, but there is a paid level that Restream.io has where you can schedule your pre-recorded video. And so let's say that you decide, "Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pre-record it at 8 o'clock at night. And then I want it to go out at 11 a.m. the next day as a live video." You can do that. So you basically pre-record yourself and then you plug in the video for the scheduled date and time in Restream.io. You tell it where you want it to um, showcase, particularly, or usually it's going to be Facebook Live, maybe YouTube Live. And when you do that at that given time, it's going to show your video live. Now, the advantage to doing that is that you can then, especially if you don't have a team member or someone else that's monitoring comments for you can then join in to the watch party
mm,
and you can comment and you can answer questions that are coming up as people are watching your video. Now, if you do something like that, the one piece of advice I would give you is I'm always very conscientious about honesty and
mm,
authenticity online. So, what you'll find is that some people choose to fake it as though they truly are there live. I would suggest that if you're going to pre-record and then post it as though it's a live video, what you're going to do in your comments as soon as you come on is say, "Hey guys, this was pre-recorded, but I'm actually here live watching with you so that I can answer your questions." I prefer to tell people up front if that's something I'm doing. The same thing with webinars. If you're using video to record courses, training, presentations in a webinar format, a lot of people have gone to Evergreen or webinars that you can sign up and enroll in long after you've done the first live version, right?
right.
So the important thing is just to be honest with people and let them know I'm not physically there right now, but I can answer your questions because of the platform I'm using. So feel free to go ahead and ask questions while you're watching, and I'll make sure to get back to you. Just give people that honesty. The only other thing I would say about pre-recorded, Marie, I guess, would be even if you're not using it from the standpoint of it being alive, because I'm live is what I do all the time. So I tend to kind of put everything through that filter. But you can certainly just avoid live altogether initially if you're new and again putting your toe in the water. you can certainly just map it out, because I have some clients that do this now. They just have committed that once a week they're going to do a pre-recorded video. And that does give you the ability to be able to kind of jot out your script and your outline of what you want to say, put together your environment. If you have additional scenes you want to add to your video, you can do that. But whatever you do, any one of these three that we've talked about, whether it's live, um, pre-recorded with your face or pre-recorded with slides, either one of those, just make a commitment to yourself about having a consistent schedule, because you cannot, in this environment, in this marketing space now, you can't just put one out there today and then do a video 3 months from now and expect that it's going to get you the traction you need. You
Yeah.
have to find a schedule that fits you, a frequency that works well for you and for your calendar. Don't overcommit. You don't have to promise to do it every day.
Right.
But if you try to do it at least once a week, maybe at the most once every 2 weeks, I really say once a week is what's going to get you the momentum you want on social with video. And if you want to do a little bit more than that, maybe do 2 a week. But look at your schedule and make a commitment to yourself, regardless of which format you choose.
Yeah, that consistency is important, and the transparency and the connection that you get with video is so powerful, and the consistency just adds to that, right? People know that they can expect to see you there. I've been doing this on Tuesdays at the same time since January, so I think it started in January,
Yeah.
and it's still people are still getting used to, oh, Marie's going to be live Tuesdays at 4 p.m. Eastern time. So it takes a while to build that consistency.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But it also gives you a track to run on, so that you know what, at this date and time, I better have my hair together. I
My
better,
hair's never together.
I gotta get my attitude, my mood, all of that.
Yep. Yes. And it is. It's, for me, it works, as we were talking about earlier, almost better than the pre-recorded, because the pre-recorded I can just overanalyze, and I use Camtasia to edit that, and then someone will say, oh, you need to make your videos have more stuff in them, and I'm like, no, focus, I just need to get it done.
Right. Let me get it done. Most
Yeah.
of the time I found that too, because there are a lot of people that teach video marketing, and they want to teach you to add in scenes and transitions and all these other extra things, which is fine once you get comfortable. But most of my clients don't want to become professional videographers. They just want to know, how can I leverage video to engage with my audience more, so that I can still be wonderful at what I'm already great at, but I've added video to my arsenal. And so that's why I teach from the perspective that I do, and say, keep it simple. You don't have to add a whole bunch of extra stuff, because if you do that, the more you do it, the less likely you are going to be to do your videos regularly. It just becomes cumbersome.
Yeah. And we were talking right before we hopped on about the, career thought leaders, the people that are watching this, their heart is to help job seekers. And
Yes.
that video is a powerful tool for us to connect with those job seekers, to make them feel like somebody cares. And that's the focus, not,
Yes.
how cool do I make my videos? How many things can I put in them? But that I can show up on video and help someone really feel like I want to connect with them.
That's right.
I want to
That's
help
right.
them. Yeah.
Offer them value, offer them something that they can walk away with and say, okay, this is actionable.
Right.
Not, ooh, she had a really pretty intro. Like, okay, did that help me get a job? No, not necessarily. So yes.
And I do just want to pop your Facebook page up here with Get Noticed with Video. I've been following you for a while, a little Tanya groupie for a couple of years. We had you on a couple of years ago to do a bit on bite-sized content.
Yes.
And I love this site. I get so much value from the lives that you do every week or twice a week. So thank you for that. And for the people that are watching, if you're interested in doing more video, I'd highly encourage you to like Tanya's page and follow what she's doing, join her lives, because you'll see an easy, authentic way that she's doing it, that for me just made me feel like I could do it too.
Thank you. And
Thank you.
again, you heard the dogs barking, so it's okay. You can make mistakes.
Yes. Yes. Oh my goodness. Yes. We should make a bloopers of live because, well, some of them I've cut out, but we had one where my system shut down, my internet went down, and the person that was on with me just kept going, and she was so effortless until I came back. So, yeah.
Those are fun.
Always. Yes. Well, thank you again, Tanya, for coming on and talking to us about video. And if you're watching and you start doing some video, tag Tanya, tag me so that we can cheer you on and see what you're doing. We'll see you next week for our Trend Tuesdays. Bye, Tanya. Thank you.
Thank you.